This is Blake Temez with the Blake Temez podcast, where I speak as a Catholic layman to Catholic laymen about missional living, wisdom cultivation, and legacy building in service of Christ and his bride, the Church. Thanks for being here. Understanding the concepts of fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence can help a minister, a mentor, or a missionary prepare for their work with different age groups. Now, let me explain in brief the differences between crystallized and fluid intelligence. Fluid intelligence is that type of intelligence that allows for new ideas, for problem solving, and for a kind of capacity for dealing with a variety of variables at once. And it's characteristically well developed in the earlier half of life, in one's younger years, with a general decline in fluid intelligence in one's later adulthood. And so that's the research that I've seen so far. And so that's how I'm going to report it. I would be interested in seeing if this has been replicated to see how fluid intelligence works across the lifespan, but there's this general sense of an increase into young adulthood and then a gradual decline as one ages. And this can be compared to crystallized intelligence, which has to do with the sum total of experiences, memories, and skills that one has and develops over one's lifetime, such that there's an increase of crystallized intelligence over the lifespan, even into the later years of adulthood, and this greater and greater store of, again, memories, skills, and experiences. And so when looking at how crystallized and fluid intelligence interact and how they potentially change over the lifespan, it maps onto some conventional wisdom that we have regarding the strengths and the weaknesses of different generational groups. If we see older adults as having a greater store of crystallized intelligence, that corresponds to the sense that we have that those adults have more experiential knowledge, they have greater wisdom, they've lived through more experiences with different dynamics, and so they have a sense of the way the world works, so to speak. And on the other hand, we can look at young adults, and even adolescents, and see them as being innovative or having new ideas or not wanting to stick with the routine and the status quo and all of that. And this corresponding not just to kind of like generational cultural differences, but actually some things happening cognitively with those age groups. And so this can be important to remain aware of because it can prevent a minister from kind of pushing a cultural value of one kind or the other on an age group when it's not really even native to their cognitive capacities to behave or think in a certain way, and instead finding opportunities to tap into, to honor, and to kind of elevate the giftedness of these different age ranges based off of ability. This can be done through being overt about the possibilities and the limitations of intergenerational cooperation and seeing that there should be mechanisms and ways of bringing the wisdom of the older adults to the fore while allowing for that innovation from the younger generation, but not allowing either one to rule the day. I see some ministry models making such an emphasis on the need for innovation that they discount the role of tradition and experiential wisdom almost entirely. in the name of appealing to the younger generation or empowering the younger generation or whatever that might look like, when doing that can result in a kind of blind leading the blind situation where young people are left without mentorship or direction or guidance. So that's one extreme. And I mentioned that one first because the second extreme is probably the one that is most stereotypically associated with church cultures when it comes to an overvaluation of the experience of older adults, which can result in mindsets like, this is the way that we've always done things, or this is the way that things work around here, or trust us, we have the experience, and things like that. And so I think that that's probably more common because, again, that's kind of the cultural perception at large of churches and how they function. And so just recognizing that in any attempts to correct that mindset, there can be a overcorrection to disregarding tradition and experiential wisdom. And so as a minister or missionary or a mentor, you want to locate yourself in these dynamics and recognize where you are age-wise, where you are experience-wise, where your biases lie in terms of your temperament and mindset and valuing experiential wisdom on the one hand versus innovation on the other hand, and see how you can be a bridge and a connector between these generations, respecting these differences, which again are rooted in cultural timelines, but also in cognitive development realities as well, in terms of fluid and crystallized intelligence. And so I encourage you to find those, to create those mechanisms of conversation and collaboration, and to dig deeper into these concepts in real time by having conversations that are intergenerational and coming to see how young people and older generations contribute uniquely and both importantly to the life of your church or your ministry. As always, thank you for your time and your attention, and God bless you and all your efforts. Peace. If you're a young Catholic man or a mentor, missionary, or minister who works with them, or even just a concerned figure in their life, a parent, uncle, whoever it might be on the lookout for the release of a short guide that I'm putting together called Brothers by Blood: How to Forge a New Path for Catholic Manhood. In it, I'll expand on some of the topics in this podcast and give you some points of reflection to see about how you can be a part of a movement that empowers men and brings them to their full potential for their sake and also for the benefit of the church and, by extension, the benefit of all society. So, again, thank you for being a part of this, and look out for more information about the release of my guide in episodes to come.